Good afternoon, I'm Shane Masters with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, is reporting a 34% increase in the number of people shot and killed by members of the security forces. Most of the killings were done by members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, who were on operation. Prince Moore has the details.
Data revealed by INDECOM show fatal shootings by the security forces continue to be an issue. In its fourth quarter report tabled in Parliament on Tuesday, the investigative body noted that 115 people were killed in 2020 by members of the security forces, compared to 86 that were killed in 2019. That's an increase of 29. Of the 115 fatal shootings by the security forces, 102 were done by the police, including 15 by off-duty officers. The other 13 were caused by the JDF and members of the Department of Correctional Services. Meanwhile, INDECOM continues to raise questions about the deadly use of force by members of the security forces and multiple fatalities in a single shooting incident. Of the 126 people who were shot and killed in multiple death encounters over the 4-year period 2017 to 2020, only 81 firearms were recovered from the deceased. However, the absence of firearms among the other 45 killed raises questions. It's why the investigative body is calling for more effective control and discipline in the use of deadly force. In the meantime, INDECOM is again urging the security forces to introduce and implement body-worn cameras to frontline police officers. It says such a move would provide further internal and external oversight and monitoring mechanisms, which would enable greater public accountability and community trust and support of police actions. Prince Moore, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, in another report by INDECOM, it has revealed a mixture of positives and negatives at the Rio Cobra Juvenile Correctional Center in St. Catherine. The negatives center around the types of punishment administered to the juveniles. However, there was positive news relating to their educational opportunities and overall care. More from Kimon Witter.
INDECOM raised great concern that some wards at the Rio Cobra Juvenile Correctional Center are being treated contrary to international best practice, and aspects of discipline and punishment administered infringe on some basic human rights. The Commission reported that several wards complained that they were locked away on the jail block for minor offences and clothed only in their underwear. This was made worse by the absence of sheets on the jail block, as this exposes them to the elements without the ability to keep themselves warm. Some wards considered that punishments lacked accountability and were arbitrary as well as draconian. Another complaint was that there was no appeal process and their complaints about mistreatment are neglected. More than 60% of the wards believed the system for punishing them was fair, yet 74% of them indicated they were punished for no given reason. The Commission condemned the practice of locking them away on the jail block only in underwear and concluded that this poses a psychological risk. It recommended that the Department of Correctional Services and the Ministry of National Security implement swift reform and best practices that adhere to international standards. The report was a special inquiry at the Rio Cobra Juvenile Correctional Center based on anonymous reports about ill treatment and allegations of abuse of the wards at the institution. INDECOM attended the facility over 3 days in December last year. The team interviewed the superintendent in charge, as well as 35 of the 40 wards.
Calls are growing for more to be done to address the living condition of prisoners in Jamaica. This following a voice note making the rounds on social media from an alleged inmate. Codian Barrett reports.
Man claiming to be a prisoner has detailed how the conditions in Jamaica's penal facilities have worsened since the COVID-19 restrictions. In a voice note circulating on social media, the alleged inmate said with the suspension of visits for more than 10 months ago, prisoners have run out of containers used to relieve themselves. Executive Director of prison rights group Stand Up for Jamaica, Carlo Gualata, says overcrowding is a concern.
General Penitentiary, Tower Street. it should be built for 850 people. Usually there are 1,600 people. In the last week, they reached 1,800 people. That means that people are packed up in there like sardines.
The prisoner said he had to use items of clothing because bags are scarce. Ms. Gwalata has since expressed concern regarding the matter.
People are locked from 2:30 until 10 in the morning, and they have a bucket into the cell. And in a cell there are several inmates, and everybody uses that bucket for his own personal convenience. And do you think that's nice?
It's the reason Attorney-at-Law John Clark is adamant that the Department of Correctional Services should allow for family members to visit inmates.
The prisoners who can't afford to get money because the family members just can provide food items, to allow those prisoners to get those visits and to allow those visits to be COVID compliant. If the JCS can do it, I don't know why the DCS cannot do it. What we're having by the DCS is what I would say a disregard of the persons who are detained constitutional right to be visited and communicate with their family members.
Kodian Barrett, TVJ News.
Industry and Commerce Minister Audley Shaw says efforts are being made to have more private labs testing for COVID-19. It follows recent reports that some health practitioners were carrying out illegal testing for the virus.
Parliament on Tuesday, Industry and Commerce Minister Audley Shaw revealed that the Jamaica National Agency for Accreditation has launched a pre-accreditation approval program to increase stakeholder confidence in Jamaica's COVID-19 testing capacity. With this move, Mr. Shaw says more facilities will be accredited to carry out testing for COVID-19.
This initiative features a joined-up government approach with the Ministry of Health and Wellness and the Ministry of Tourism to provide reliable COVID-19 testing services to meet the market needs for over 60,000 COVID-19 tests daily and reduce uncertainties associated with overseas travel.
A Sunday Gleaner probe revealed that some health practitioners were conducting COVID-19 testing which were not regulated. It led to the Health Ministry calling for those people to seek the requisite approval to carry out such testing. Mr. Shaw wants these practitioners to take advantage of the initiative.
JANAC's international recognition for the accreditation of medical and testing labs will provide the assurance that the results generated by these entities can be trusted, Madam Speaker, thereby facilitating trade and protecting consumers' well-being.
Mr. Shaw added that he has appealed to the Consumer Affairs Commission, CAC, for details of all approved private sector laboratories that can test for SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19.
As Minister, I have tasked the Consumer Affairs Commission to scan the external environment to ensure that the various testing facilities are published antigen tests, PCR tests, and any other approved testing are appropriately priced so that consumers have access to affordable, essential medical diagnostic services.
The findings are expected to be published this week. Kodian Barrett, TVJ News.
And amidst the pandemic, there have been heightening consumer prices from retailers trying to exploit the health crisis. Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce Audley Shaw says several actions have been taken to protect consumers through the CAC.
They have increased market surveillance by 45% during the period of the pandemic. There has been increased surveillance and surveys of basic food items as a response to concerns about food access, availability, and pricing.
He added that the agency has also heightened public education to report excessive pricing. In the meantime, there are renewed calls from the Bureau of Standards for all products entering the market to be tested to ensure they meet the required standard.
Calls have also been issued to manufacturers, distributors, and importers of hand sanitizers to take in samples of the products for testing, and we urge the entities to respond to those calls.
Jamaicans are being urged to only purchase sanitizers that have been approved by the island's regulatory authorities.
There are 68 compliant hand sanitizers currently on the market. There are 8 importers of hand sanitizers and 5 local manufacturers registered with the NCRA. Please visit the website of the NCRA at www.ncra.org.jm for the list of compliant sanitizer products.
Jamaica's COVID-19 case count has passed 16,000. The Ministry of Health says 100 cases were confirmed yesterday. This has increased the country's tally to 16,073. Meanwhile, a 41-year-old man from St. Elizabeth and a 49-year-old woman who lived in Hanover are the latest to die from COVID-19 in Jamaica. The death toll is now at 355. It's time now for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back. Continuing the news. Government pensioners are to get an increase in their disbursements based on a proposal which has now been approved by Cabinet. Information Minister Favour Williams gave details of the increase at this morning's post-Cabinet press briefing.
Persons who receive up to $41,667 per month will now receive an additional $2,300 per month. Persons who receive between $41,668 to $54,167 per month will now get an additional $1,800 per month.
Now, pensioners who receive amounts above those categories will get an increase of $1,450 per month. Meanwhile, the government is also defending the decision to end the Jamaica Urban Transit Company JUTC's Free Ride for Frontline Workers program. Since yesterday's announcement that the program will be suspended as of February 14, there has been criticism from some, including the opposition. However, the Information Minister explained that the program was unsustainable, considering the increased losses the JUTC has been recording.
This was a program that was launched for a period of time. And so as the JUTC seeks to bring its operations back in line, it is trying to ensure that its finances begin to rebuild again so that we have a sustainable public transportation system.
News now in sports. Bangladesh posted 242 for 5 against the West Indies on day 1 of the first test in Chattogram today. After winning the toss and choosing to bat, Shadab Islam led the way for the home side with 59. Jamal Warrican took 3 for 58 for the Windies, while Kemar Roach took 1 for 44. Lytton Das and Shakib Al Hassan are the not-out batsmen for Bangladesh on 34 and 39 respectively. John Campbell and Kruma Bonner and Jermaine Blackwood are the Jamaicans in the 11 for the first test. The rest of the 11 read skipper Craig Brathwaite, Shane Mosley, Joshua De Silva, Rakeem Cornwall, Kemar Roach, Shannon Gabriel, Jamel Warrican and Kyle Mayers. Mayers, Bonner and Mosley are making their test debut. And that's the midday news. I'm Shane Masters. Join us at 7 for Prime Time News. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.